All right, girls, or year 8s if you're watching this video, we're today going to go through expanding brackets and equations with expanding brackets. Now, just quickly, when we're expanding brackets, what we have to do is we could actually do, this is what they look like. They look like this, and there's a few things we can do. But the thing is that when we want to solve this equation, and there's quite a few things ways we can do it. I'm going to show you one way, and that is expanding the brackets. So, for example, you can fill this out with me. When we're expanding brackets, it's 3 times 2a, and we've also got a 3 times 1. And if we expand the brackets, so yen, what does 3 times 2a equal? 6a. And this is really important. Just I want you to note this, and I want you to take a note somewhere or take a mental note. When I expand it, it's also, a lot of students expand the first expression, but they don't expand the second. What's the next thing going to be, Alouette? 6a plus 3. Very good. So notice, oh, my pen's running out. Now, you can see there we've expanded the bracket, so we've actually got rid of that bracket, and then that's equal to 27. Now, as you can notice, we can actually solve that as per normal. The thing furthest away from the 3 is the thing furthest away from the 8 is 3. So we're going to subtract 3. And then when we subtract 3, then we're going to have 6a is equal to 24. And look, we've been there and done that. We can divide both sides by 6. A is equal to 4. So it's really no different once you expand the brackets and make your life easier. However, there is another way of doing this. Does anyone want to put their hand up and give me a shout as to what another first step might be? All right, Alouette, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Alouette?
Well, if you divide it 27 by 3.
Let's do number 2. Let's do it a different way. So let's look at this one.
Well, because this is furthest away from 8, so you would go equals negative 11.
Good.
So divide it by 6.
Just quickly though, so that's good, but let's just think about what's negative 66 divided by negative 6. Got a negative number? So can I get you just to put a positive in front of that? That's good. So positive 11. Good. And can you see there, by doing that, now what we've done is we've eliminated those brackets. There's no need for brackets anymore. In this expression, we've got 3h plus 5 is multiplied by minus 6. If we divide both sides by minus 6, we have eliminated those brackets to make our life much easier. So now what we can do is we can subtract 5 from both sides. So you can do that with me now. And that's going to leave me with 3h is equal to 6. And you know the last step, but we know that therefore h is equal to 2. Okay, now I'm going to come over to Liv over here. Whoop. I don't know what happened there. Liv, can I get you to do this one for me? I want you to expand the brackets this time. Okay, can you see there that because we have this plus 3y for number 3, we can't divide by this 4. We can't get rid of divide by 4 because there's actually a plus 3y there. So what we have to do is Liv's going to do this for us. So Liv, can I get you to expand these brackets first? Okay, so expand those brackets and let's simplify. Explain what you're doing.
So 4 times 2y equals 8y. And then 4 times negative 5 equals negative 20. And then you just add the plus 57. So what we want to do is collect a like term. 11y. Minus 20.
Good, minus 20. The minus 20 doesn't go anywhere.
Equals 57. And then you add 20 because that's the opposite of minus 20. So that equals 77. 11 y. And then you divide by 11, which equals, equals 7.
Y is equal to 7. Very good.
Went a bit out of control.
No, that's okay. It's not that easy, is it? All right. So can you see there? This thing is actually going a bit nuts. I'm just going to stay over here and finish this one. Girls, let's do this together. You might have a little bit more room. I'm going to try and do this. This last one, we've got equations with brackets on. We've got an equation with brackets, but brackets on both sides. Now, look, there's a few things you could do. There's the 2 and the 5 we can deal with, but what I'm going to suggest to you is, for the most part, expanding the brackets is the best thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 times 3k. So if you don't mind, Liv, I might just rub that out for the time being, give myself some space there. We might need a little bit of space here. So 2 times 3k is 6k. And 2 times 1 is, Vicky? 2, thank you. And 5 times 2k is 10k. So we're doing the right-hand side now. And 5 times minus 6 is, you can shout it out, negative 30. Okay, so we've got to recall what we've done in our integers unit. Okay, because if we forget that, we're going to start making a lot of silly calculation errors. All right, now, what have I shown you before? We've got to look at, I might ask you, Kiara. So, Kiara, you can just talk me through. What's the next step? What are we looking at here? We've got 2 values of k. Which one are we leaving alone? Okay, so we're leaving the 10k alone, which means that what are we doing to both sides then? We want to get this 6k over. Minusing 6k, very good. So we're going to minus 6k from both sides. Now, what that leaves us with on the left-hand side, that cancels out the 6k, so we're just going to have 2. And on the right-hand side, if I'm taking 6 from 10, we have 4k, and we have minus 30. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're solving for k. This is exactly what we're doing, these 2-step problems. So what are we going to do now, Ruby? So Ruby, thank you. We're going to plus 30 to both sides. Good. And that's going to leave us with 32 is equal to 4k. And, of course, the last step is dividing by 4, isn't it? Good. And we divide both sides by 4. I don't like to have my pronumeral on the right-hand side, so I'm just going to switch it. That's k is equal to 8. Well done. Well done. K is equal to 8. Good stuff, girls. Now, as you can see here, okay, as you can see here, we've got really 3 or 4 different types. We've got one where we've got equations on one side, where we've got another where we've chosen a different way. We've divided through by that thing out the front. But this is the one you need to be really careful with. So I'm going to get my highlighter out. And I'm going to say that this one, we can't be careful. Be careful. Okay, be careful. Big exclamation mark. Oh, let's add a 3rd exclamation mark. Because if you were to multiply through or to try to divide through by 4, you can't do that because you've got this plus 3y there. So you really need to, my advice for most of these, if you expand the brackets out, you really can't go wrong. But for option 1, 2, and 4, well, maybe just 1 and 2, you definitely could have used a different method. You could have divided through by that 3, or you could have divided through by the minus 6. All right, now, just quickly, we've got about 10 minutes to go. So what can we do with the brackets? Well, usually we expand the brackets. That's what I'm going to say to you. If you're struggling with these, my advice would be expand the brackets first. Okay, so I want you to expand the brackets using distributive law. And then it's a matter of collecting those like terms, just like we've done. The pronumerals on one side and the constant terms on the other side, and then solving. So the pronumerals on one side and the constant terms on the other side. So that's sort of what we're doing. Now let's sort of have a go. Did we just do that? We did. Okay, so let's forget this example here. We've just been through two different ways of doing it. But can I get you, do you have this in front of you? Okay, so let's just try this again, but let's consider that there is two methods. Okay, there is two methods, and I'm going to suggest that for the most part, if you expand the brackets first, that's usually a really good idea because you can always do that. So I'll repeat, just before we go through this, I might change to green because I feel like doing green. Method one is expand the brackets, isn't it? We need to expand the brackets. So by expanding the brackets, we need to use distributive law. So that's going to be, let's try this. Before we didn't expand the brackets, we divided through. So I'm just going to show you the other way. So minus 6 times 3 is minus 18, and the h didn't go anywhere. So minus 18h. And then we've got 6 times 5 is 30, but we need to consider it's negative 30, isn't it? A positive times a negative is a negative. So we've got negative 30. It's still going to yield exactly the same result as we had before, which you might recall from before. This is exactly the same problem. Now, we can see here that I've got the h. What's the furthest thing from h on this side? Minus 30. So we need to add 30 to both sides, like so. Now, if I add 30 to both sides, it's sort of the same as if I had on the right-hand side 30 minus 66. Well, if I was to subtract 30, that's going to take me to 0. How many do I have left from 66? If I've just taken 30 away, how many do I have left? Let's think about this then. What's 66 minus 30? 36. So if I'm going to 0 and I've got another 36 that I have to subtract, the answer would be, we know it's going to be negative, it's going to be negative 36. And that's what we're doing in the integers unit. So if you've forgotten how to do that sort of thing, then of course that's going to cause us some more problems. So it's something you really need to revise when we're dealing with these negatives. Okay, so 30 minus, so we've got minus 36, and you can see there I've cancelled out that 30 on the left-hand side. We've got minus 18h. So as you can see there, what's the last step? We're dividing by negative 18, that's right, dividing by negative 18. Now that's just going to leave me with h is equal to, what's my answer there? H is equal to 2. Okay, and just once again, so that's one method, expanding. It's always going to work when you expand. I told you though that this guy over here, that's one where you really, if you were trying to do this method too, which I'm about to show you, it won't work because there's a plus 3y there. You notice that there's this and then there's this. So you really have to expand here. But given that there's no sort of other variable here, we can actually do the other method, which is instead of, we've got times by minus 6, so we can divide by minus 6. Divide by minus 6. So then what that's going to do, that's going to cancel out that minus 6. We're left with 3h plus 5 on the left-hand side. We don't need a bracket anymore. And the same thing, that's going to be 66 divided by 6 is 11. A negative divided by a negative is being a positive. So that's positive 11. Now, when I subtract 5 from both sides, because that 5 here, this 5 here, that's furthest away from the h. So I want to get rid of that first. So we're subtracting 5 from both sides, which leaves us 3h is equal to 6. And dividing both sides by 3 gives us h is equal to 2. Now, look, can I just say that a number of students, you know, for completion, they want to really show all of their steps. If you went, personally though, if I have this step here, 3h is equal to 6, and you can quite clearly see that h is equal to 2, I would accept the fact that if you wanted to go straight from there without writing the divide by 3, then you'll get full marks with me, no problem, okay? You know, we could do that by inspection, couldn't we? But it's not always going to work that way because sometimes you might have an answer which is a fraction. So if you have an answer with a fraction, it's probably best to make sure you show that bit of working. But if it's something like this where you can basically just, 3 times something equals 6, that something is equal to 2, I'm more than happy. You'll get full marks for this. If this is worth 3 marks, if you can get this is worth 3 marks, then you're going to have 1 mark for sort of dividing through by -6, and another mark for your working here, and then another mark for your answer. Okay, so if you've got from here to here, no problem whatsoever. So girls, that's about all I've got for this. Now, I don't have, there's some other examples here, well, we've been through those already. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is coming up to the test, you really should have just a good watch of this 15-minute video, 16-minute video, because I do think that this is an area of weakness for most students at your age.